Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Hare Krishna Project podcast. This is episode number 97. We are just 3 episodes away from our 100th episode, which I still can't quite believe. A big thank you to everyone who continues to tune in now from all over the world to listen to our guest. We've had a fantastic lineup of guests recently. Somebody once asked me, how do you find your guests, or how do you get guests? And my response is, well, I just ask them. I just ask people. The worst they can do is say no. And thankfully, most people say yes. Do not forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do hit that all-important subscribe button, which I believe is down that way. I pointed to the wrong way last week. The subscribe button is down there. So click on the subscribe button, and please do share the link with other people. And also, if you're watching this on Facebook, please do like or follow the Hare Krishna Project Facebook page, so you can be updated about news from the Hare Krishna Project. Okay, now, just before we start, it's really important to say that I'm going to try and talk a bit slower this week, because our guest, her first language isn't English. And I'm conscious that when I get really enthusiastic, I talk quite fast. So many of you know I'm from a beautiful part of England called Somerset. And when people from Somerset talk very fast, you don't understand what they're saying. So I'm delighted, therefore, to welcome our 97th guest. It's Rasalila. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you for welcoming me.
It's great to have you with us. Now, for this week, we are going to France. Now, I was just trying to, because Rasalila's in France, and I was just trying to work out of the 97 guests, I think Rasalila is only the second from France or in France. So it's quite historic. So, Rasalila, we're going to start with a nice, easy question. Please tell us a bit about you and where you are from.
I am Rasalila, and I live in France, in Rouen. There's a temple in Rouen, in Radha-Kripa Mission. And yes, I dedicated my life in this temple to Krishna, and my spiritual master, and yes, I give him my life.
Wow. So, thank you for that. So, I'm a bit of a history buff, which some of you know. So Rasalila mentioned that she's from a city, or in a city called Rouen. So for any historians out there, hundreds of years ago, when France and England were a kingdom together under the same king, the capital of both countries together was Rouen. And I only know that because I went to Rouen in September, and I made sure I did some research before I went. So, Rasalila, you are in Rouen in France. Are you from Rouen? Were you born there?
No, actually, I was born near from Paris, like in the suburb of Paris. And after we moved with my parents, we'll move to the country 30 minutes away from Rouen. So I grew up in the middle of the country, and after I came here. So
Wow.
usually here.
It must have been quite nice growing up in the French countryside.
Yeah, it
One of the things I really love to do is to drive through the French countryside. It's like one of my favorite things. And Paris, Paris is very busy and very loud, isn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't been to Paris for about 4 years because it's just too overwhelming. You know, there's just quite busy. Okay, so you live in a temple in Rouen. How did you discover Krishna consciousness, or how did you meet the devotees?
Well, I met the devotees when I was still quite young because my parents, they were in a research, spiritually, they were searching for answers. And when I was around 9, 10, my father, he was a postman. And in the street, there was the shop of devotees. And so he entered and he started to be interested. And he was like this. He started to connect with with the devotees, and that's how we met them. Because by then they didn't have official temples. There were deities of Nitai Vishwambhar and the Yashoda Gopal, but there was not a official big temple. So what they did is that devotees, they came to our house with big boxes of prasadam to share with us. It was very special. It was like nothing like I had tasted before.
Wow.
So that's how I met devotees.
So I think you said you were about 10 years old.
Yeah. Yes.
And I've seen from Facebook that you've recently celebrated a birthday.
Yes.
So I think without revealing your age, that was around 20 years ago that you met the devotees. You see how I subtly did that? I was once told you should never ask a woman or a swami their age. So people can work it out by what I've just said. Okay, so you were 10 years old,
Yes.
living at home, and you met the devotees. So you met the devotees from the Radha-Kripa Mission.
Yes.
And they came to your home and they brought prasadam and things.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Radha-Kripa Mission is the temple that you now live in.
Yes. Mm.
Tell us a bit about the mission, the temple, the things that happen, and some of the projects. So this is a chance now for you to tell us everything about the Radha-Kripa Mission.
Okay. Well, there's a lot to say. The temple, so the temple as he is now, it is now. It was officially opened in 2009, so it was much later. Before this, it was in a small bedroom upstairs, so it was not so much official. And so, sorry, I search for my words.
It's okay. Take your time. It's fine.
So this temple, it was founded by Srila Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, and he came there, built everything. Basically, it was like a very old house, not big, but well, they had to do all the construction, building, making everything new, and building all the temple. And after this, we helped by then because I was already coming regularly, so we helped a lot to build all this. And after this, the inauguration, yes, the opening, it was in 2009 when there was the installation of Shri Radha Kunjabihari, and there was already and there was also Shri Praran Rishingadev, in addition to all the other deities who were already there. So it's a temple. We have a lot of projects here, yes, because there is a Radha-Kripa Mission where we have we share the knowledge through Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and all those sacred books, and we do program every day as in the temple. And also near from this, we also have association, like association, does it?
Yes, that's the word. I'm sure that's the word.
Which is called Ahimsa, and where we share about non-violence to like a more large public, like to everyone who can be touched by this, because it's like some values which are very important in general for humanity. So it's a way to open this way to cultivate those values to everyone who is inspired by it, no matter what is their background or religion or anyway spirituality, or if because the values of ahimsa, of non-violence, like compassion, humility, respect, tolerance, it's something very basic. And so with this association, we're trying to do this through different way. For example, singing in the we do harinam like this, but with close civil cloth, yes, and we do show like special gathering once a month where we talk, and there are some music and also kirtan, and also we distribute prasadam every week, 3 times a week. And
wow.
well,
I knew that you did it every week, but I didn't know it was 3 times a week. So that's very impressive.
There are
So so I came to one of the meetings, didn't I, for the Ahimsa non-violence. So that's kind of like and I was very impressed, by the way. I think it's a fantastic project. And it's kind of a ministry for bikers, for people that ride motorbikes, isn't it? And for a lot of people, so when I came to France, so everyone's aware, I met Rasalila and other members of the temple in September when I went to France to visit. And one of the things I was impressed by was this Ahimsa Non-Violence Motorcycle Ministry project. And for those of you watching from ISKCON, I would probably say it's not the same, but the nearest thing you could compare it to is Krishna West. So Krishna West in ISKCON is this idea of taking the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and presenting them to Western people in a way that they understand and is applicable. Where members of the Western public don't think that they have to convert to an Indian religion or to Hinduism. I mean, I don't like the word Hinduism, and it's very clever. And I think that, well, I'm quite certain that in France, it's even more difficult to preach on the streets than it is in England. Because France is a very secular country, isn't it? So secular means non-religious. And people are religious in France, but it's very private. And people keep their religion at home, discuss it privately. So it's very difficult in France to preach, isn't it, on the streets?
Yes, it's difficult. Yes, people are like afraid a little of spiritual or religion. They have this tendency to be afraid, so it's difficult to share in a way that they feel like they are feeling not aggressed by it. But, yes. This is why it's this way to share very openly, to accept people as they are, and tell them, okay, you can stay like this, but just you can also, even without changing anything in outside, you can cultivate something else inside also, and give a higher value to your life by this connection, by this.
Yeah. I was just thinking of, when you were saying that, I was thinking about when Prabhupada was asked about this type of thing, and Srila Prabhupada's response was, you don't need to give anything up, just add Krishna.
Yeah.
Just add Krishna. So yes, there are things that are not good for our spiritual life, like drinking alcohol, eating meat. Of course they're not good, and you really need to give up those things if you can, but ultimately just add Krishna to your life. And so the Ahimsa Non-Violence Motorcycle Ministry. So many people watching will be familiar with, in the Christian church, there'll be like prison ministry and different, men's ministry projects. So this is just a similar thing. And I actually published some photos and videos from my visit to France on this Facebook page. People can scroll down and you'll find the photos and videos from the Ahimsa Non-Violence Motorcycle Club. Do you find that the presentation of Ahimsa, is it successful? Are French people becoming interested?
Well, yes, in a way that they are accepting more this. Through this, there are people who wouldn't be touched by this spirituality if we presented it in this way, but who can participate to Ahimsa through this motorcycle, through this this association, because it's not like we ask them to change, we just share this with them, and they are open, and like this they can work on adding those values in their life without feeling put in somewhere where they don't want to be, in a way they don't want to become. So yes, and even when we sing in the street, so people are very open to this Ahimsa Non-Violence when we are doing Harina.
With this podcast, I will create a link to the Ahimsa Non-Violence Facebook page, so people watching can have a look at the photos and the videos. It's very impressive, and I have seen that you are having a program on New Year's Eve.
Oh yes.
I saw that on Facebook. So if anyone is in France and wants to go to Rouen for New Year's Eve for an evening of Hare Nam Sankirtan, but just in a different way, I'm sure the devotees would love to see you.
Of course, you can come.
A great way to kind of see in the new year with devotee association. One of the things that impressed me when I visited the Radha-Kripa Mission was it's in September. It's a very busy temple, and there's lots of devotees living there. How many devotees are living at the temple now?
Like around 20.
And it seems very successful. It depends how you measure success, in terms of quite a few young people there.
Yes.
Younger people. And you have 2 sannyasis, I think, and you have a mixture of single people and families. So one of the things that the temple is beautiful, by the way. I loved the temple room. So many deities and just such an opulent, rich program of artis throughout the day. You know, if anyone has never been to the Radha-Kripa Mission, I would recommend that you visit. It's only a 2-hour drive from Calais. So if you're coming from England, you get the boat to Calais, and then you drive about 2 hours through the beautiful French countryside. One of the things that stood out for me as someone who kind of studies religion is that, like now, all of the women, well, most of the women were wearing yellow.
Yes, it's
So tell us a bit about that.
this is when you choose to be like Bramacharini, it's the color we put in when we make this choice to dedicate our life like in single way in this Bramacharini ashram to dedicate your life to Krishna. Then we put this yellow color.
Yeah, because my background's in ISKCON,
Yes.
where women, or sorry, brahmacharinis, they don't wear a particular color. They just wear, you know, saris. So the brahmacharis will wear saffron, and then in ISKCON the women will just wear regular saris. But in the Radha-Kripa Mission, the women wear yellow.
Yes.
And the men wear saffron.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm reminded of what Prabhupada actually said. There was a very famous TV interview that Prabhupada gave in America in probably 1974, when the the TV reporter asked Prabhupada, tell us about the color. And what was really interesting is he said that the color didn't actually matter. The point was that someone is wearing like a uniform to show that they are dedicated.
Yes.
Or they're set apart. So that's me saying in a very long-winded way, I really like the fact that in the Radha-Kripa Mission, the women wear yellow. It shows that kind of dedication and devotion to the mission. And I'm not aware, actually. I mean, I've studied lots of mats and sanghas in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. I think there's only one other mat in the whole world where the women will wear a particular color. And I've forgotten their name, and they're based in India. I've forgotten their name, but they're actually the mat is run by women. The head guru is a woman, but they are Gaudiya Vaishnav. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten the name. So you wear yellow. So how many women or how many brahmacharinis are currently at the ashram at the moment?
We are four.
4. That's great. And tell us a bit about some of the activities that you'll do on like a daily basis. So, you know, do you get up early? What happens? What are the things that you do on a daily basis?
The daily program, or
Yeah.
my daily,
Well, both. What's the daily program, and what do you do to keep yourself busy throughout the day?
Well, the daily program is at 5:30 in the first program. I wake up before to start to chant my round before, and at 5:30 there's a first Mangalarti. After this, we chant again and our rounds, and after at 7:45 there is the second program with Guru Parampara and lecture. After this, we go to do our seva until midday. Midday is Prashadam. And after we go back to our seva, and that's so personally from my seva, I divide my time because I have several things to do, several different seva. to maintain. So I do. I share my time between a little bit dancing and translation also from English to French, and painting, doing illustration, and so at 7:30 in the evening there is a gorar, and this is the last program of the day.
Wow. And for you, I mean, if you, so how long have you been wearing yellow? How long have you been a Bramacharini?
I guess it's 3 years.
3 years.
Maybe it was in 2019 or 2020. I don't remember exactly, but it's 3 or 4 years. Yes.
Okay. And is this something you want to do forever? Do you want to live in the temple forever, or do you want to change things in the future?
When I took this decision, I said to myself that I would do this for my life. It was a decision of dedicating my whole life, and by the mercy of the Vaishnava, I can maintain this and dedicate my whole life forever.
I really like that, and I think one of the things I've been picking up through my conversation with you and through when I visited the temple in September is that there is a real focus on empowering women and encouraging women to how do I say this, to live full devotional lives, to take up different types of seva, to think independently, to take positions of leadership. And because my personal view is, unfortunately, in other groups, women are often just kind of, you know, pushed away or not given prominent positions. And I love the fact that you can, for example, I often speak out of turn, but in other groups, a woman would be expected to be a Brahmacharini maybe for 4 years or 5 years and then get married. And there's a focus on that they have to get married.
Yes.
That's their purpose in life, is to get married and have children. And I actually think and feel, well, how depressing is that? If a woman wants to live a different life, she has the freedom, or should have the freedom, to do that.
Yes, that's so important. And actually, that's something which is very important for my spiritual master, Bhakti Swami, is very. It's something which he's really trying to share, this message you just said. Like, of course, if you want, you can get married and have children, but you can also make another choice even as a woman. It's possible to be to dedicate your life in a different way and to choose to be Bramacharini and yes, just as you. It's something very, very important.
It's really, really encouraging, actually. So let's talk about change the topic a little bit. You have a passion for dance and art. And I remember when I came to the temple in September, you were doing this wonderful dance, which was kind of very contemporary. It was at the Ahimsa Non-Violence meeting, and you gave this wonderful dance, and you're wearing this kind of, I would call it Elizabethan head scarf thing. And, you know, I said to your sister after, I remember that you looked like Elizabeth I, Queen Elizabeth I. So she was the Queen of England a long time ago, and she's famous for wearing these kind of neck coverings. And you looked like Queen Elizabeth I. So tell us a bit about, well, we can talk about art and dance. Why are you passionate about those particular things?
Well, about dance, first of all, it's not like it's I'm not a great dancer. I did not gave enough time to it to become like a professional dancer, but it's something which I like to do, and I like to engage it, to propose it to yes to propose it to those special reun- reunion we do in the Ahimsa association like
Mm,
this.
mm,
It gives a diversity, some kind of diversity to present something to people who come, and also it's I think a way to share messages, but in a slightly different way. Like for example, when you came, it was dance about pride and humility, and
mm,
that's why I had this like I don't remember how it named in
mm.
English.
I don't know what it's called.
This thing around my neck. It was like to symbolize like the pride at first, and after I was removing it, and like and to represent a little this way we have to walk toward cultivating humility. So yes, it's very nice because for Krishna you can engage so many things, and if you like to dance, you can dance.
Mm,
You can dance for him, and if you like to paint and draw, and you can also do it for him. And about drawing, it's like it's something which is very important to me since I'm very little. I'm drawing since a long time, and actually um, I did drawings at first when we came regularly, when we started to come uh, when the program of the Sunday started to be created, and we
mm,
started to come little by little, like irregularly to the temple. We came to the festivals, and for Krishna, at every festival, I was doing drawing. And with time, my spiritual master, he asked me to if I wanted to help to decorate the temple, because by then it was not finished, and I did not paint before, and I started to paint for this because I was only drawing, and I started to paint for the temple to decorate. I don't know if you remember the ceiling
mm.
with all those Vaikunta planets.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
It was my wait. It was not the first thing, because I did maybe 2 or 3 paintings before, like some training. But it was 2 paintings about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And after I started to paint, as he asked me, this ceiling. And yes, that's how I've been engaged more and more. And actually, it's like something I like, but by being engaged like this, it made me go even more into this art part of me, and to cultivate this also, but for Krishna. And I after this, I painted the big painting which is outside.
Mm,
Uh, when I started, I was still in high school, so it took a long time because I did not have so much time, and that's how I've been really mm, that I started to really dive into paintings
mm,
through this service I have for that my spiritual master engaged me in. And I started to study more painting. And there's also a devotee whose name is she's Dira Radhika Dasi, and but she was Dirgadasi is the name Srila Prabhupada gave her, and she came when I was. She came to give me some basic about oil painting, because by then I was just painting with acrylic. And so after this, I've also been to a seminar with Dhriti Dasi and Ramdas. And little by little, it gave me more and more. It gave me more and more the desire to do this service for Krishna, because there's so much to do and it's very inspiring. I remember when they were talking about this quest, this impossible quest to paint Krishna, because Krishna is like it's beauty beyond it's endless beauty. So he cannot be represented, but you can always try to come closer and closer, but you will never reach the goal finally. And it was so inspiring the way they talked. So all this, it gave me this opportunity to do what I'm doing still now, to do paintings and illustration for Krishna. Here in the temple particularly.
So most of the paintings at the temple were painted by you.
Yes, not every painting, but mostly yes.
Yeah, it's a very colorful temple. I know I've said this before to the viewers at home, but if you haven't visited the Radha-Kripa Mission in Rouen, northwest France, you must visit. Into the temple room is beautiful. So Rasalila has painted this wonderful kind of heavenly, it's like a heavenly experience. You feel like you're in some kind of pastime with Krishna, you know, and the way it's all presented and the colors, you know, they're beautiful. And also the painting outside that you've done next to the kind of pond, I think.
Oh, yes.
Did you do that painting as well? That was the painting that you
Yes,
took.
yes.
It's just wonderful, and it's a very colorful temple, and I mean that in all ways. And we were also talking before this broadcast that you've done lots of different types of paintings, so for different books and different publications. So there's some devotees in London who published the teachings of Lord Buddha, produced by the Bliss devotees, and you painted those paintings as well for the book, I understand.
Yes, actually, it was when they saw one of my painting, the oil painting I made in the temple. It's the painting I make. I go in Paris to paint because I have a teacher there who give me. And this painting is in the temple, and my friend she published it on her Facebook wall, and so they contacted her, and they wanted the illustration for their book, and they were very interested by this painting, because it seemed to be like something they were. It was what they wanted in their book. So they asked me for doing some illustration about the book teaching.
Illustration, yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Illustration.
It was not. It was a digital painting. This one.
Wow. And I have a copy of that book at home, and yeah, it's very impressive. It's very impressive. Okay. And finally, and you've kind of answered this question already when we've been talking about other things, but I'm always keen to ask guests, how do you think we can attract more people to Krishna consciousness, particularly Western people? What can we do to try and convince people that Krishna consciousness is a philosophy that they might want to follow?
Well, it's a big question, but I think what we do, at least here, we try to share this message of staying accepting people the way they are, not
Mm.
asking them to change, just giving them the opportunity to accept Krishna in their life, but without asking them to change something else, to that's so important to yes, we be open, and like this they can feel free to be who they are, and they can come freely to Krishna like this without feeling trapped or
Mm.
locked in something. Well, it's not. I think it's something. Um, it's like. Sorry.
Don't worry. If you can't think of the words, or don't worry about it. But just to pick up on something you said just now about accepting people for who they are.
Mhm.
I felt that very much when I visited the temple in September. That's a strong vibe or theme of the temple, is accepting people for who they are. And the project that I'm involved with, the Hare Krishna project, we've done a lot of work this year on inclusive Vaishnavism.
Mhm.
So it's about trying to be as inclusive as possible,
Yes.
because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to and did spread the teachings of the preaching of the holy names to everyone, not just certain groups of people or certain
Mhm.
nationalities, but
Yes.
everyone. And when Srila Prabhupada came to the West almost 60 years ago, he came for everyone who chooses to
Mhm.
listen and to read and to follow.
Mhm.
And I really like that about the Radha-Kripa Mission. There is that inclusive feeling that everyone and anyone is welcome here.
Yes. Mhm. Yes, it's like you can you can even be Christian or in another religion and love Krishna. It's something which is above everything. Krishna is the goal for everybody. So so it's a way to say you can all we can all we can all um, cultivate this and try to dedicate our life to him, no matter what is our outside identification of the moment.
Mm, mm.
So it's um, it's really you can ride a bike and love Krishna. You can be in another. Uh, I sorry, I'm really not good for, but
No, it's fine. And Srila Prabhupada said exactly the same thing. Well, we're trying to follow Prabhupada. He said,
yes.
actually, Krishna consciousness isn't necessarily about giving things up.
Mm,
Yes, as I've said already, there are certain things we really shouldn't be doing. But ultimately, if you're an artist, paint for Krishna.
mm,
If you're a cook, cook for Krishna. If you are an expert at raising money or fundraising, then fundraise for Krishna.
yes.
There are so many different things that we can do to dovetail,
Mm,
to take our skills and talents and present them in the service of Krishna consciousness.
mm,
Um, and finally, I know this wasn't one of the questions that I sent before, but can we just talk a bit about your Guru Maharaj? Because he's very energetic.
mm,
He has a lot of energy. And I met him briefly when I visited. Um, in September. I keep forgetting when I visited in September, but we didn't talk much because English isn't his first language either, and we hugged each other, but after that it was not so easy to have a conversation. So just tell us a bit about him, and because he has a big following, doesn't he? He has quite a big following in France.
Yes.
And I think also in North America. I think he's recently been to North America.
Yes, he's sometimes going to.
Yeah. So he's yeah. I mean, he's just remind us of his name.
His name is Bhakti Swami, and yes, he created this mission. He was yes, this whole temple, and since he has a special past, it's a way to open this to help. He's using this past of violence he has to inspire people, to tell them it's possible to change, and to cultivate high values in your life, no matter what you were before. It doesn't matter. You can and yes, he's been doing all this temple is here because he was here to to do it. And yes, he's also doing commentaries on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and really trying to open this message to as many people as possible. Even Bhagavad Gita, doing commentaries which can be read by people at large, so they can find this connection and desire to develop their relation with Krishna. What else can I say?
Well, I think he's doing a wonderful job. He's doing a fantastic service, and he's I can tell from my brief meeting with him and visiting the temple that he's very dedicated to Prabhupada, following Prabhupada. And I remember being in the temple room at the Radha-Kripa Mission, and so there are two. So some of the viewers may not know, there are two resident sannyasis at the Radha-Kripa Mission. So Rasalila's Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Damodar. I forgot the Srila Bhakti Saraswati. Swarup Maharaj. That's it. I so many names I keep forgetting. And there's also Govinda Maharaj, who's another sannyasi. And I spent a lot of time with Govinda Maharaj at the temple because his English is very good. He used to work for the United Nations as a translator, I believe, or as a social worker. But
social worker.
Yeah, we got on very well. And anyway, we were in the temple room, and he showed me there's another room behind the temple room. You go up the stairs, and it's like a museum. But I don't like the word museum because it implies that something's old. But it's like a museum. I think it says museum on the sign, but there's a massive murti of Prabhupada.
Oh, yes, it's another temple room.
Another temple room. That's the word. And it's wonderful because you've got lots of details about the Gaudiya Vaishnav Sampradaya. I took there are photos on this Facebook page somewhere of that room. Lots of pictures of the Sampradaya. There's a wonderful murti of Prabhupada.
Yes.
Also, there are artifacts or there are belongings that used to belong to Puri Maharaj, and also Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And also, it's all coming back to me now, and also there's a big section dedicated to women.
Yes.
and lots of wonderful women in the Gaudiya Vaishnava family. See, all these things are coming back to me now. And it was a wonderful room. And I remember asking Govinda Maharaj, so what is the theme of this temple? And he said, the theme is Prabhupada at home. In terms of, we want to follow Prabhupada as if we're in a small, intimate community, in a family. And Prabhupada is head of the family.
Yes.
And I really felt that when I visited. And it was lovely how none of you had ever met me before. And you welcomed me as part of the family. You know, and you kept feeding me and feeding me. You know?
That's what we have to.
And it was great. And I remember talking to Harini, who lives there. I said, well, I might just hang around now, or I might just do this. And she said, oh, you can stay as long as you want. It's your home if you want to stay here. I remember that really well. So I think what I'm saying in a very long-winded way, I certainly felt that feeling of Prabhupada being at home amongst the devotees. Okay, is there anything else that you really want to share with us about the Radha-Kripa Mission? And thank you for your English has been fantastic, by the way. I know you've been a little bit nervous leading up to today, but it's really good, particularly for people around the world who will watch this podcast or who are watching this podcast, to find out about the Radha-Kripa Mission. Because I've been going to France regularly for 10 years. And I didn't know about the Radha-Kripa Mission till about 2 or 3 years ago. And I was quite frustrated with myself because I spend a lot of time in northern France. And now that I know that the Radha-Kripa Mission is in northern France, I'm going to visit more often. Because it's a wonderful space. And if you look at France as a big country, in terms of Gaudiya Vaishnavism or Krishna Consciousness, there's not a lot happening. It's very quiet. You know, I mean, for example, ISKCON has, I think, 2 temples, Paris and New Mayapur. And I think there is a group in southern France with a sannyasi called Shrauti Maharaj, who I think is in the Narayan Maharaj map. But compared to the UK, it's very quiet for Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Here in the UK, we have around 20 temples from different groups and sanghas. So I was just really pleased when I discovered the Radha-Kripa Mission. It's a wonderful place. So I think, Rasalila, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody at home, and then you and I can have a brief talk after. So a big thank you to Rasalila for being guest number 97 on the Hare Krishna Project podcast. I still cannot believe it. We've produced 97 episodes. Do not forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button so you can keep updated about future podcasts as we approach our 100th episode. And if you're watching this on Facebook, please do like or follow the Hare Krishna Project Facebook page. Also, I know that after every podcast, I always get feedback. I really appreciate your feedback. I cannot always respond to every message. I particularly like to hear constructive feedback, stuff that's useful for me to know. I don't always need to hear people's life stories unless you want to tell me your life story. But please do send some constructive feedback. So until next week, I will see you all soon. Hare Krishna.